So in this video, we're going to look at the quotient rule. We use the quotient rule when we're dividing two functions, especially when we can't simplify them. So for example, like this function, we're dividing x and 4x minus 5. And anytime you have a sum or difference in the denominator, you cannot divide it with the terms in the numerator. So in this case, there's no way to simplify this, and therefore we need a rule for finding the derivative when we're dividing fractions. So this is the rule. So if I have a function f divided by g, those are the two functions, I can use this formula. So it would be, I take the bottom one, which is g, and I multiply it by the derivative of the top function, f prime. And then I subtract, the key thing is the subtraction, the top, which is f of x, times the derivative of the bottom. And then it's all over the bottom squared. So that's the quotient rule. In words, sometimes the way students can remember it is the saying, it's like low d high minus high d low all over low squared. Okay, so what low would be is the denominator or the bottom function. And then the high is your numerator. And then d high means the derivative. Okay, so low in this case would be g. And then again, d high would be the derivative of f, which is that top function. And then high would be f of x, and then it would be times g prime of x, the bottom. And then all of this is divided by the low one squared. So you can use that, you can use the formula, whatever way to help you remember it. So when I write the pieces, I usually write low and high, because that's how I remember it. But again, you can always write low, which is g, and I would always put that first because that's what you're starting with, and high, which is f. And then we're going to take the derivative of g, or the derivative of the low function, and we're going to take the derivative of f, or the derivative of the high function, kind of like the product rule. It's just a different order. So the low would be your g of x. So in this case, we have x and 4x minus 5. So this would be my f of x in that formula, and this would be my g of x. And so I would write the low, which is 4x minus 5, and I would write the high, which is x. And then I would take the derivative. Derivative 4x minus 5 is 4. Derivative x is 1. And then it's pretty much putting it in this combination, however you remember it. So this is equal to the low, which is 4x minus 5, times the derivative of the high, or derivative of f for the top. And then it's minus, right? And that's key. Don't forget that it's minus the top, or high, or f, which is x, times the derivative of the bottom, which is 4. And then it's all over the bottom function, which is 4x minus 5, or the low function, squared. So that is the quotient rule. Again, we don't simplify this too much. I mean, this one we can because it's not really hard. So 1 times 4x minus 5 is 4x minus 5 minus 4x over 4x minus 5 squared. And then that gives me negative 5 over 4x minus 5 squared. And that would be my derivative of x over 4x minus 5. Okay. So that is kind of the basics of the quotient rule. One way to remember that product rule is plus and quotient rule is minus, is you can think of exponent rules. For exponent rules, when you are multiplying, you add the exponents, and when you're dividing, you subtract the exponents. So if that helps you, you can try to remember that for this.